Cinema Worms.
Discussing everything from Grima Wormtongue to the Shy Halib.
I'm Sabib.
And I'm Linz.
And this is Cinema Worms Podcast.
Today we're going to be talking about Regretting You. This is a romantic drama directed by Josh Boone, who did, unfortunately for him, the truly terrible 2020 film The New Mutants, which you didn't see, but it has Maisie Williams in it, and they've given her the worst haircut I've ever seen. Someone hated her for that. I haven't seen Boone's other films like The Fault in Our Stars. I know you love the book. Did you ever see the film?
No, I didn't.
Good,
Sorry,
because
you imagined it. I didn't read it, so neutral.
I thought there was...
I just like John Green.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, I didn't see the film because I don't like Ansel Elgort. But fortunately, he's no longer a thing. So hooray! I also haven't read any Colleen Hoover books, although I am aware of them, and not in a good way. Hoover wrote the screenplay, and we'll discuss the actual bones of that later. But first, let's talk about the premise, which is actually a pretty interesting one. Alison Williams, who you reminded me was in Girls, but who I think of mainly as being the naggy aunt from 2022's Megan, actually plays a character called Megan here, which was really funny. She's married to Scott Eastwood's Chris, and she's the mother of McKenna Grace's teenage Clara. Now, Megan's life seems pretty normal for a straight woman in a movie. Her husband has a reasonable amount of muscle mass and a jaw you could crack walnuts on, and her daughter Clara does love her, but thinks she can be overprotective. For example, Megan keeps tabs on her family by location tracking their phones, and not really wanting her to hang out with boys whose fathers may have been felons or whatever, which honestly, frankly, am I at the point where I've passed the point where I sympathize with Disney parents rather than Disney characters? No, you don't know him. Go back to your cave. You can't run away with this boy. But I'm worried that I'm at the point where I'm now starting to sympathize with parents in films as well.
Yeah, appropriately protected.
It just seems reasonable what she's asking anyway. So Megan's sister Jenny, played by Willa Fitzgerald, has recently hooked up with a former boyfriend called Jonah, who is played by Dave Franco, and as a result has a very young baby. Not super fresh, but it was recent. Yeah. Jenny tells Megan that as a result they're probably going to get married now, and Megan hesitates because Jonah once left town unexpectedly years ago and it basically kind of ghosted them all. So what's to stop him doing it again? Why did he do that? Well, we're probably going to find out. So we've got two sets of parents, two kids here, happy families, right? Wrong. So as you'll see in the trailer, if you've seen the trailer for this film, so it's not a spoiler, Megan receives a call informing her that Chris has been in a car accident. But when she arrives at the hospital, Jonah's there too, and he tries to correct her that no, it was Jenny who was in a car accident. Turns out Chris and Jenny have been in a car accident in the same car. Uh-oh, why would two people be sneaking around in the same car on a day they're both supposed to be working? TikTok, it's a fair o'clock, baby. So things are made worse by the fact... Thank you for going with my joke. Things are made worse by the fact that Megan decides to keep this info from Clara, who's understandably very torn up that her dad and her favourite aunt are dead, but Clara decides to channel her angst into pursuing classmate Miller Adams, stupid name, played by Mason Thames, also kind of a stupid name, who you might have seen in the 2019's The Black Phone and its sequel, and 2025's live action How to Train Your Dragon, amongst others. So, what did you think of this film? And then we'll get into more of the deets.
I think I judged it going in. I thought that it looked cheesy, and I was like, oh, well, we're gonna go see this.
You wanted to see this
corny film, and
every time we saw the poster, you pointed at it and said, "I can't wait to see."
I may
this.
have also, I may, yeah, that may be
I
true.
only went to see this because you wanted to.
I don't remember.
Oh,
it's all very hazy.
So convenient.
But we went in with low expectations, and I think we were both pleasantly surprised that it was much better than I was expecting. Obviously, I have notes, but I enjoyed it. It kind of felt better than it had to be in terms of just from the very beginning, the setup. While there's a lot about it that's like basic and doesn't go to a deeper level, there's also a streamlined and effective way that they set up the story that I was surprised by. Like, they're not necessarily over explaining things. They let us notice these small moments between characters and draw inferences. And all the actors are good. I don't know if I believed the chemistry between Dave. Okay, maybe I shouldn't say this. There's maybe some romantic tension between Dave Franco's and Allison Williams' character.
The whole point of it is that after they discover that their spouses have been having an affair, did they perhaps overlook the chemistry that they had together?
Yes.
That's the whole kind of premise.
Yeah, like, I believe Allison Williams as the mother of that young actress. Like, they had this like nice mother-daughter conflictual vibe that I felt was realistic.
That's because she only plays naggy, annoying characters, and I believe that for her.
Yeah, I believe that.
I'm sure she's a really nice person in real life, but I'm like, you only play nags. I could only see you as a nag. You were a nag in Megan. Yes. You're a nag here.
Yeah, and I believe that she's like sacrificed her life to take care of his daughter she had young. Dave Franco, he plays sweet and romantic, really nice.
How do you think the character of Jonah that he plays here differs from his portrayal of the character in Together that he did with Alison Brie, his real life spouse, earlier this year?
Together, while I was disappointed by the second half, like, he gives an amazing performance in it, and I think he plays torn up really well. I think this performance, it's kind of like this character's a little more straightforward and almost like this too noble, nice guy, but I thought he played it in a convincing way, right? Like, he actually committed, even though it's a film where you could just sort of phone it in. I think he's showing himself to be a good actor.
Yeah, I feel like it's a similar, if his performance in Together was an expensive down coat, here it was a parka from H&M. It was
good metaphor.
Thank you. It was a similar vibe that I feel like he probably just had to recall what he did for Together and kind of do it here, but not as much. I do think he's a great actor.
Those characters are completely different, though. Yeah.
I do, but there was something that kind of linked them. This kind
ennui.
of yes, a little bit of ennui, a little bit of like, hey, I want a thing, but I'm trying. There's just something that, and I think I would go and see pretty much anything that he's in. He's good. I don't
like him.
I don't know. I do have a little crush on Dave Franco. He's the thing is,
he's a cutie.
When he wears glasses, he's very cute. So
yeah.
I have a little, well, you wear glasses a lot, and I also like that. So.
You do. You like glasses.
I do make passes at people who wear glasses. What can I say? So yeah, and can we talk for a second about McKenna Grace? So she was in the Ghostbusters reboot that I don't think you saw, like, any of the like Frozen Empire.
But I recognize her.
She was one of the better elements in there, which was not hard because it was not great. She's also in The Handmaid's Tale, but I can't remember who she played. She was in I, Tonya as Baby Tonya to Margot Robbie's older version, which is funny because I made a Nancy Kerrigan joke this morning. And she'll also be in the next Hunger Games movie, which I think is Sunrise on the Reaping, which I just read. So the problem that I had with her, I actually think she's a pretty good actress. I'm a little bit face blind, and for a while I was thinking, who's the other one who was in like, that it was like a slasher film, but she went back to the 80s and was trying to help her mom.
The one who was in Mad Men.
Yeah.
I know her, but I'm just like blanking on her name right now under pressure.
I kept being like, it was like, oh, that's her. But I guess she looks different. It's not. It's a completely different actress.
And they look pretty different, but they're quite blonde.
Listen, if they all look like they could play Sabrina the Teenage Witch, I find it hard to distinguish. The problem I had with McKenna Grace here is not her acting. It is that they put so much makeup on her and they did her hair so much that I genuinely believed she was 24. She is actually 19. She plays a 16-year-old who turned 17 in the course of this film, which takes place over like a month or two. And I was like, no, not at all.
And the thing is, I believe she was young because I literally just seen her as a child actress like 2 seconds ago. So like, she's young. But yeah.
No, it was too much.
The adults looked actually much more normal. Mm-hmm. They had her in full glam makeup. And I'm like...
all of the time, yeah.
And even like when she like wakes up, she's like fully wearing makeup.
Yeah.
And... if you're a teenager doing your makeup, you will not look that good. I'm sure
No,
teenagers wear lots of makeup.
Yeah, I'm sure. But like, she looked perfect. Her hair was perfect all the time.
It was insane.
It was
It
really.
was a full face of makeup all the time.
I found that really distracting because it did make her look in her mid-20s, and as a result, I found it kind of hard to focus on the fact that she, was supposed to be in school anyway. So it was. I agree with you. It was a pleasant film. It does not make me want to read any Colleen Hoover books because I have seen some screenshots and the prose is not great on a line level. But it's a cool premise. And I think that if you're happy to kind of switch your brain off and just watch something, it's like a romantic kind of dramedy. There are some comedic elements. I wouldn't say it's a really laugh out loud funny. There were certainly a couple of times we looked at each other and laughed because of something unintentional that was happening.
Well, also, it's like
but it had,
decently.
Yeah, it had comedic moments.
Like it's like a broad cleverness. It's not like the most clever thing, but
clever. I'm so sorry. Clever is not a word I would apply to this film.
It's like humorous. It's heartfelt, and it has a nice arc. It's very watchable, and it was enjoyable.
It's something that you could put on, have a nice glass of wine, not think too much about it.
Yes,
it is very. It's a little basic. In places, it's a little bit of a basic bitch. But, sometimes that's what you want. Exactly. That's completely fine. So, I'm not rushing to see the next Colleen Hoover film, which, as I said this morning, with a relatively disgusted look on my face, stars my nemesis Dakota Johnson. But I will keep an eye out and kind of see, because it is nice to see, when we see a lot of high-intensity thrillers and horrors and films that are filled with suspense, it is sort of nice to do the Downton thing and take your brain out and slide it into a hot bubble bath for a while. So if that's the kind of vibe we're looking for, I think we would recommend. Yeah.
Yes, I would recommend.
We would recommend going to see Regretting You. Would you say that they wouldn't regret it?
No, you won't regret regretting you.
Today we're going to be talking about Roofman, which we saw a week ago. This is an American crime comedy directed by Derek, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Cianfrance, whose work includes 2010's Blue Valentine, 2021's The Place Beyond the Pines, as well as the 2020 HBO miniseries I Know This Much Is True, which I haven't seen, but I do hope that title is a Spandau Ballet reference because I recognise it. Cianfrance also got an Oscar nomination for his contributions to the screenplay on 2020's The Sound of Metal, and he co-wrote this screenplay for Roofman with Kurt Gunn, who he also worked with on The Sound of Metal. Now, it stars Channing Tatum, who is, of course, known for his sexy dance work on the first and second Step Up and the Magic Mike franchise. Do not go into both of those franchises thinking they are the same. They're kind of different. As well as one of his most comedic turns in one of my favourite films of all time, 2006's She's the Man, which is just an impeccable
I've seen it many
film.
times.
My God, it's an impeccable film. One of the best Shakespearean adaptations, I would argue. Now, Tatum has also done some more interesting and serious roles, like 2014's Foxcatcher and 2024's Blink Twice with Zoe Kravitz. Here, Tatum plays Jeffrey Manchester. If this film is actually based on a true story about a real guy who was a criminal, but the name sounds so amazingly fake to me. It's just a guy's name plus the name of a major English city. Right, pick a man's name for me.
Joe.
Joe Liverpool. Pick another one.
Tommy
London. These are all men that could be in this film. See, that's how you write, ladies and gentlemen, and non-binary people. So, Roofman also stars Peter Dinklage, who I most recently saw in The Toxic Avenger, as well as Kirsten Dunst, who has obviously a storied filmography going back to childhood, but including most recently 2024's Civil War. Now, Tatum is Jeffrey Manchester, as we said. He is the Roofman, a criminal who is best known for, wow, can you guess what he does? He goes on roofs and breaks into places. But he is also a kind and caring criminal. He holds people at gunpoint, but he also gives them his coat when they're cold. So he's not a total jerk, but he is stealing from, 45 McDonald's before he gets caught. Honestly, the fact that McDonald's, a big conglomerate, did not find him sooner is actually a testament to his power. And he goes to jail and then decides he is going to break out because he is, as one character later says, a genius, but also a total idiot. So, what did you think of Roofman? I know it was a bit of a spontaneous watch for us.
Yeah. I didn't know anything about it, so it was like a really interesting watch. And now knowing the filmmaker's past work, it makes sense that it has this sort of gritty realism, but also and sort of tragedy, but also it's quite funny. So it's a much more funny turn than this guy's other work. And speaking of the miniseries he did, I've been recommended this very strongly.
I know this much is true.
Yes.
Okay.
And I've heard it is great, so I cannot wait to watch it.
Do you know who's in it?
Mark Ruffalo.
Oh, I would watch that.
Yes,
just
of
on
course.
On the basis of Mark Ruffalo. He seems like a good egg.
Exactly. So considering that, it makes sense that this film has, first of all, it has like a retro vibe. Oh God, 2004 is retro now.
Once again, Father Time.
Yeah, and it's filmed in a way, I actually still needed to look up the cinematography, but it's filmed in such a way that it has a certain like graininess to it and filtered feel of being filmed at that time. The period touches in terms of how they wear their clothes.
Oh, I don't know if I love the way you're using period there for like 20 years ago.
How they wear their hair, just the technology available. It's all very based in that time. So it felt very realistic. And it does have, I'm really interested by the way they depicted this character because they're not romanticizing him, but you feel sympathy for him. And I think that's down to how he's written and how Tatum performs him, in that he's vulnerable, but also kind of narcissistic. He's like yearning, but also completely like oblivious. So he's a really interesting character. They don't soften him up too much.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a sense of, you do sort of feel sorry for him, but at the same time, he is compulsively breaking into places and, you know, the things that he wants to do, which is, you know, treat people in his life well, and especially the kids, is kind of overshadowed by the ways in which he chooses to do that. So he's not choosing to just get a regular job or do whatever. He is choosing to do the thing that he's good at, which is breaking into McDonald's, apparently. But then again, there is a sense of kindness in that he's not hurting anybody. He's actually being quite nice. You see, I'm pretty sure that must have been drawn from a real newscast where they're interviewing one of the McDonald's employees, and he's like, "Oh, he's pretty nice, actually. He gave me his coat."
They play real news stories at the end about him.
Yeah, you do actually get to see the real Jeffrey Manchester, who went by a fake name for a lot of this after he breaks out of prison. And I have to say, the fake name actually sounded less fake than Jeffrey Manchester. But yeah, I also thought Kirsten Dunst was really good.
Really good, as usual.
She's actually just got better and better for me over the years. Like, her turn in Civil War was absolutely fantastic. I really love that she is not Botox to the hilt. She looks like a real, very attractive lady.
Yes.
And you can see all of the expressions and emotions on her face. She plays a mother of two teen girls that Jeffrey Manchester kind of falls for, who also actually works at the Toys R Us that he's hanging out in. Also, there's something really nice about the scenes where he's setting himself up inside the Toys R Us. I like a little montage of someone creating a space and making it their own. But yeah, back to Dunst. She really is convincing as this mother of teen girls who is trying her best and maybe not always quite kind of managing to reach her daughters as they kind of navigate through the precarious obstacles of puberty. And at the same time, she has her own, she goes to church, she has a job, she has her own kind of troubles. And it's nice to see her that she's a person as well as a mother. That's very clear here. Peter Dinklage doesn't get a whole bunch to do as the grumpy manager of the Toys R Us, but when he is on screen, he does shine. But then Peter Dinklage always does. I saw him, as I said, in The Toxic Avenger. Very different turn from that film this year, but he's consistently good. I'm, again, another actor that if I see he's in something, I'm probably going to give it a go. I actually don't know if I would have seen The Toxic Avenger had Peter Dinklage not been in it.
I still have no idea really what that film is about.
Listen,
despite you explaining
I
it.
saw it and I still don't know what it's about. Yeah, I did explain it. All I could say is there was a lot of Parker and people yelling, "No, stop flipping," and I still think that to myself on occasion. The plot is very simple. but also seemed unnecessarily complex. But there's a lot of gore and flipping, and we support indie filmmakers.
And I would say, I think I said coming out of Roofman, I felt like it could have been shorter because to me, it felt pretty straightforward. They're hitting kind of like one note, one thread throughout, leading to like an inevitable conclusion. So it's, to me, it felt like, okay, some aspects of this could be repetitive. You see him making the same mistakes over and over and over. I think we get it, so it could have been shorter for me.
I agree with that. However, I would say, and I don't want to spoil it too much, but in the post credit scene, it does tell you that Jeffrey Manchester continued to make the same mistakes in his life. So he clearly did not learn. He keeps saying that he learned, but he did not in fact learn. And I think maybe that's kind of why there wasn't too much of an arc for him to have, because in real life he did not have that much of an arc. He hasn't learned. Maybe he's learned now. Hard to say. Wherever you are, Jeffrey Manchester, prison, I hope that you are doing well and not planning to break into anything again.